pretty cool that the Leafs won 5-1.
It was 5-4.
That was the weirdest thing. The game ended after the second period when I stopped watching.
Did you actually stop watching, or did you just repress it?
Love the Leafs' big win in Game 5, too.
Okay.
Let's go! Ladies and gentlemen,
It's a little ridiculous.
good boy. Play all the hits. Left Toronto Maple Leafs. Let me finish. How am I supposed to go to bed after watching that?
I'm quite hyped. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR.
Victory, Puppy Ziggy! What was the final score? I don't know either. That's right. It's the Leafs won. That's all it is. I'll give you the treat. There's the, yeah.
Leafs win! 5-4 over the Columbus Blue Jackets, but really it was a 5-3 win that ended 5-4. But it's just, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. That game was like going to a job interview, nailing it, and then pooping your pants on the car drive home. Ultimately, what matters most is that you succeeded, but at the end of the day, we both know what happened. Your new boss doesn't know, but you wonder if they do. How would they know? Oh, they know. Steve, is this based in reality? I promise it's not! And speaking of things that are, not based in reality, I would like to talk about a couple things before we talk about this game. One is obviously Jason Spezza, which we will get to next. The other is a tweet that I sent yesterday. So here's the tweet, and it's basically in response to people clowning on Austin Matthews after the whole Pierre-Luc Dubois thing and that he didn't fight him. I said, Matthews is such a wimp. Austin Matthews would beat the brakes off you and your dad. And then I followed that up with, especially your dad. And people took that seriously and literally, and not as something intentionally absurd. So since I need to be very literal about everything, I don't know your dad. Like, I had people earnestly like, oh, I know he couldn't. He doesn't know my dad. You're right. No, he doesn't. And neither do I. No one knows your dad. Go outside. Laugh a little. Life's too short to be this miserable. And tell your dad I said hi. And also, no hard feelings. He won't care that I said that because I don't know your dad! Which I thought was obvious, but I guess not, so next time I'll blend it up and put it on a wee spoon. Second, the Jason Spezza suspension. This was the question that I got more than anything that had to do with this game against Columbus. So Jason Spezza gets a 6-game suspension for his hit on Neil Pionk. And Leaf fans, like, let's get this out of the way. Yeah, we all wanted our pound of flesh with Neil Pionk because he need Rasmus Sandin, who we now know is going to be out approximately 3 weeks. Pionk was suspended 2 games, but now he's in concussion protocol because Jason Spezza saw the red mist on the Leafs bench, hopped over the boards, and then hit a very vulnerable Pionk in a very not cool way. In a very obviously retaliatory way, which the NHL did not appreciate, and that's why he got dinged, and he should have got dinged. It's a dangerous play, and we talked about this on the podcast. It was eerily reminiscent of what happened to John Tavares in Game 1 of the playoffs last year, except what happened to Tavares was an accident. So yeah, Jason Spezza should have been suspended, and it should have been a big one. But here's where the DOPS loses me a little bit. So many suspensions were like, that's not enough. That's not enough. That's not. Jason Spezza just got more than Brendan Lemieux, who bit a guy, but only bit a guy once, even though he very obviously bit him at least twice, but the NHL couldn't see that on video, except John Boy could. John Boy on YouTube, John Boy on Twitter. Just look it up, Jomboy. Did a great breakdown of the Brady Tkachuk, Brendan Lemieux thing, in which Brendan Lemieux bit Brady Tkachuk more than once and only got 5 games. Here's the gray area. Spezza meant to hit Pionk. He meant to hit him real good. I don't think he meant to knee him in the head, because you see he's leading with his shoulders. But he had a bad plan, and unfortunately the bad plan sort of had to change, and it didn't in time. And Pionk got kneed in the head, and now he's in concussion protocol. That's not good. What I'm at a loss for is Jason Spezza has never been suspended in 1,200 NHL games. That's relevant. But what bothers me is guys who are repeat offenders don't even get 6 games. Yeah, it was a bad thing, and yeah, he has been suspended before, but it was like 3-4 years ago, and man. Meanwhile, Jason Spezza has 1 transgression in 1,203 NHL games, and his first suspension is 6. It's already been announced that Jason Spezza is going to be appealing the suspension, and I think he has a good case. And ironically, he doesn't have a good case in the the hit was fine, because it wasn't fine. It was dirty, and yeah, there was intent to injure there. But Spezza and his camp would absolutely be within their right to be like, this is too much. The NHL would be like, what evidence do you have? And Spezza's camp could gesture vaguely at almost every suspension over the last 5 years. But this leads to a philosophical question. If suspensions should be increased, which they probably should across the board, can we start now? Like, I'm okay with Spezza getting 6 games as long as suspensions increase in general. Edler need Hyman last year, got 2 games. Hyman was out several weeks. Pionk needs Sandin, got 2 games. Sandin's out several weeks. How does that make any sense? So yeah, suspensions should probably go up in general. Here's the asterisk. Do you have any faith that that's going to happen, that is going to be the new standard? No, you shouldn't. We just never know what to expect as fans in any facet of the sport, and with suspensions, it's one of the worst ones. And I can't help but be a skeptical pessimist about that and go, okay, you get 6 games even if you have a clean record after 1,200 games in your career, but you only get 5 games for biting a guy multiple times as long as you play for the team that drafted George Peros. Yeah, I went there. We all should. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment box down below. What I won't tolerate is, he had it coming. I'm glad he's hurt. Tell you what, as the guy who is known for screaming till he's purple about his hockey team, you need to take this a little less seriously. So let's talk about the game. We don't need to spend a ton of time on it because this game wasn't overly complicated, but there were a couple interesting notes. Rasmus Sandin out of the lineup. We already knew that. Mitch Marner out for 3 to 4 weeks. We did not know that. We thought he was missing the weekend. Travis Dermott apparently has a shoulder injury. We didn't know that. So the Leafs had to call up a bunch of guys. And 2 of those guys got into the lineup. Alex Steeves, who was a recent NCAA college signing, and Christians Rubens, who, oh my God, his story. First of all, Kyle Cushman pointed this out. If Christians Rubens gets into a game with the Leafs, which he did, he'll be the first Latvian player in team history. I absolutely love it because I've only made a small handful of videos over the past decade and a half that involve Latvian hockey, and they all go viral or turn into some sort of a meme. For a long time, one of the most viewed videos on my channel ever was Team Canada playing Team Latvia at the Olympics. Remember when Kristers Gudlevskis almost stole the game? Canada ended up winning, I think, 2-1. Yeah, Latvia watched that video. All of it. Super small country, but super passionate hockey fan base. But even more on that, here's how long of a long shot it was for Christians Rubens to make the NHL. Again from Kyle Cushman, 3 years ago, Christians Rubens joined the Leafs organization on an ECHL contract. Today, it looks like he'll be making his NHL debut, and he did. One of the best stories in the Leaf system. Rubens, not a highly offensive guy on the back end, but he's probably going to the Olympics, and he's huge. And Alex Steeves has battled injuries so far this season, but he had a really good showing at the rookie tournament, and so far looks pretty good in the AHL. I'm excited to see more of him. And I've taken all my time off the top because, well, I mean, the Leafs slaughtered the Blue Jackets for basically 40 minutes. And a big factor in this game is that the Leafs power play is a factor again. It bears repeating. I mean, the Leafs power play has basically been fine to good, very good, all season, but it was so bad last year, especially at the tail end, that every time they score a power play goal, I think all of Leafs Nation goes, isn't that nice? Just 13 seconds into the Leafs power play, the Leafs working it around, and Austin Matthews throws a pass across the ice to William Nylander that most players cannot make, and frankly should not make because it almost got picked off. But it's Austin Matthews, and you've seen how hard and accurately he can shoot. Well, imagine how hard and accurately he can pass. Hits William Nylander, scores, and the Leafs, they're gonna review it. And they do review it, and good goal! What they were reviewing is Andre Kasha making contact with Elvis Merzlikins in the crease, which he kind of does, but it was up for debate, like, when he does it. Was the puck savable? Was it already past him? To me, that was a terrible challenge from Brad Larson. From my view, I actually got some texts from people expecting it to be goalie interference, like Leaf fans. And not out of pessimism, they're like, well, you touched the goalie. But I'm telling you, the video review for me is never the actual video review. Was he in the crease? Was he touching the goalie? No, the video review is Elvis Merzlikins not reacting to what happened. He didn't react. Every goalie ever is going to react if they think they were interfered with. They're going to flip out. He didn't. It's not goalie interference. It's a good goal. Leafs head back to the power play as a result, but Columbus didn't pay for that, and I don't know, sometimes I'm kind of glad, because you know people are going to be salty about it. It's one of those rules where I get it, I get why it's there, and I understand that it used to suck before it was there, but I also hate it a little. Like, for example, I own a dog. I hate mowing the lawn, but I hate ticks even more. Basically what I'm saying is penalties for failed video reviews are mowing the lawn. But people reviewing every single goal for goalie interference was ticks. That makes sense. You get it. You get it. That was early on in the game, and then it sort of leveled off a little bit, although the Leafs power play did get to work. But it wasn't until the final 5 minutes that the Leafs really started to pull away. Morgan Rielly, who had an assist on the first goal, feeds Michael Bunting. Michael Bunting with a gronk of a play to hold on to the puck. And then he goes, what if I pass the puck between my own legs and the defenders? Austin Matthews once again, just a little kiss from his stick to put the puck in the net. And Matthews is cool, and his goal streak is cool and everything, but that is Michael Bunting's goal. Listen, I'm the Leaf guy. I don't know if you see the jersey that I'm wearing and the stuff behind me, but I also do hat picks for Sportsnet's YouTube channel. Being self-aware that I am the Leafs guy, I grade the Leafs really hard. It's difficult for a Leafs highlight to get into a Hat Picks video. This game could have had 3, and that's one of them. That goal was beautiful, but the next goal, oh, it touched my heart. Andre Kasha and David Kampf with a bit of a scrappy little play, sort of messy. They missed the puck a couple times. I was like, well, this is going nowhere. But Nick Ritchie, smarter than the average bear. Because somehow, being one of the biggest guys on the team, he's like, I don't exist. He just drifts to the front of the net. Andre Kasha feeds him the entire arena. It's like time slowed down. We're all like, do it, Nicholas! Come on, Nicholas Richard! And he's like, that's not my name. Wait, no, it's not! Shoot it! And he does! And he gets in! Nick Ritchie! Nick Ritchie! Nick Ritchie! Who doesn't love Christmas time? I want you to remember that reaction the next time I tweet something about a world-class athlete beating up your dad. Finally, we can say Maple Leafs goal. And his first as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Nick Ritchie! And now the quest for the Rocket continues in the second period, where the Leafs take a 3-0 lead. Now I think we can be a little quicker about this, because I've been dabbling in the fantasy sports, and I was like, man, Oliver Bjorkstrand looks like he's doing pretty well, so I picked him up, and then he did really well for me. Drew, people care about this, shut up! But as of late, Oliver Bjorkstrand hasn't been doing that well, so I dropped him. And then I saw that he was coming to town to play my hockey team, and I was like, oh no. He collects a rebound on the power play, backhands it in, and now the Blue Jackets are at very least on the board. Until later, the Leafs have their own power play, which I don't know, did I mention it's good now? Rielly puts it on, Johnny Toronto says thank you. And now it's 4-1, the best lead in hockey. By the way, I read your comments. I am not doing the IKEA table every time John Tavares scores a goal. I made that mistake years ago when the Leafs got Clark MacArthur, and I pulled out a sword every time he scored, because I thought he was gonna get like 8 goals in a season, and dude scored over 20. It was a real sword, a metal sword. I wrecked furniture in my bedroom at my parents' house, so it was less okay to do. Anyway, I'm not making that mistake again. 7 seconds later, Morgan Rielly just, I don't know, kind of passes the puck to Austin Matthews, and Matthews scores. It's a really good shot. And now it's that awkward point in the period where the period is almost over, and you're like, do you pull Merzlikins now, or do you wait for the intermission? I love this goal, because a lot of people talk about, like, hey, if you played with Austin Matthews, do you think you could score an NHL goal? And of course the answer is no. Unless, I don't know, if that's all I have to do, if all I have to do is what Morgan Rielly did, if you gave me enough opportunities, I think I could do it. Like, I'm not saying I'm good, I'm bad. I'm quite bad. You would have an easier time of doing it. Matthews did the whole thing himself, is I guess what I'm trying to say. And then we go to the third period, where the Leafs are gonna park this one in the garage. And by that, I mean less than a minute in, Oliver Bjorkstrand is gonna be like, you shouldn't have dropped me! This is the only one I'm gonna screen cap. This is unacceptable. Bjorkstrand tips one home, 1, because I dropped him in fantasy, and 2, who do you have? 28! Right there. He's the only one who scored, guys. Rielly's probably up higher than he should be, and Matthews doesn't make the read until it's too late. Bjorkstrand gets the easy tip home, and the Blue Jackets, they have a lot of time to work. But here's the thing. I was ready to make this video and go, well, this game could have gone off the rails very quickly, but it didn't. They won 5-2 because the third period ticked on, and everything was fine. But then with 3.5 minutes to go, Sean Corrali scored, and I was like, oh no. 3 minutes to go, the Blue Jackets pull their goalie, and I said, oh no. And then I just watched the rest of the game like this. I was looking down at the game, and I was looking up at the score clock because, oh my God, but the Leafs hold the fort, and win half a second to go, Max Domi scores. You shouldn't overreact to that. It's a goal that ultimately means nothing. The Leafs essentially won a 5-3 game 5-4, if that makes any sense. But a lot of nights, I think Sheldon Keefe feels the way that all Leaf fans do. Gosh, it sure would be nice to have a 4-goal lead and just relax. A particularly bad look for the Toronto Maple Leafs as a whole holding the lead because Jack Campbell was spectacular. I didn't know where to put it in this LFR video, but the glove save in the first and the paddle save, Campbell might have had 2 hat picks from this game alone. He was really good, but the Leafs outshot the Columbus Blue Jackets, which means to me that the Leafs were giving up far too many good chances to the Blue Jackets. That's a home game. I know it's a gritty win, and you did it without some guys in your lineup, and Jake Muzzin left that game for a little bit, and you had some rookies, and I mean, that wasn't, most of those weren't the rookies' fault. So you don't have to bash them. At the end of the day, they earned a 5-1 lead on home ice, but that shouldn't be a nervous last few minutes. Questions? Keefs? Never tweet. I think that's what I learned. Just never tweet. I want to be happy right now, but I just remembered Mitch Marner is missing the Next Generation game on December 23rd, which is a shame because ironically, the last Next Generation game, you might remember, is December 23rd, 2019. I almost said 2020. That ridiculous 8-6 game against the Carolina Hurricanes. You know what he did that Austin Matthews did in that game? He scored a goal after the previous goal was scored 7 seconds prior. Ooh, favorite Christmas song. Okay, here's how I know my favorite Christmas song. The second you said that, I heard diddy rockin' around the Christmas tree. You shouldn't have to think about it. It should be the first thing that comes to mind. It should make you think Christmas. And it's just that first little riff. Let's end with these ones. What do you think of the new guys, Steves and Rubens? Listen, special players like Austin Matthews and others, they have electric first games where they have a huge impact. For guys like Steves, for guys like Rubens, I think you're just trying to get by. And for the most part, I thought both of them were fine. Steves generated a couple scoring chances in the first period. Kyle Clifford almost got a couple goals. And Rubens, I never really noticed, which, good. Yeah, keep it that way. That's good. You don't want injuries. You don't want suspensions, but you do want to test your depth. Here it is. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell your friends. I don't know your dad. I don't.